Hello there, tennis fans. This is Shane Lambert. I commonly write at movietvtechgeeks.com. I just want to talk about some tennis here. Those who read my writing know that I write about tennis a lot. So what you're looking at on screen, those are called live rankings, and the website for that, just to give proper credit here, is live-tennis.eu. So yeah, what live rankings are is they go round for round instead of like Monday for Monday. The rankings at the ATP site, they don't get updated in between Mondays, but live rankings do. So for example, you can see here that Novak Djokovic has had some points adjusted off of his points total for his last year. He won Madrid, so he's had an adjustment made to his rankings. It hasn't affected him yet, but you can see how you can just use this to stay really up to date if you wanted. If it's more handy in the Grand Slams when the tournaments are 2 weeks long and there's huge swings in ranking points. But I just wanted to take a look at another aspect of live rankings, and that's right here, the live ATP race. That has to do with year-to-date rankings. So we'd be looking between January 1st and May 8th now. Who's done the best? And of course, Roger Federer, 2 titles in Indian Wells, Miami, and then the big one in Melbourne Park. I forget what the 45 points is for. That might have been Rotterdam, but that accounts for his year-to-date world number one ranking. Now there's actually a betting line out there with Betway Sportsbook. This site that I'm actually looking at is called oddschecker.com. As you can see, the season-ending world number one market, it's not one that's really all that popular. Bet365, AAA Sport, the big guys, Stan James, Bet Victor. Over here we got Betfair. They don't have the line. I don't think that it looks like nonsense to me. But Betway has one open, and they're even odds favorite to finish the season. So that would be post World Tour Finals rankings, the season-ending ranking. They got Rafael Nadal as a coin toss. Federer well overrated at 3-2. You can't really miss almost the entire clay court season and expect to finish number one. He'll probably be ill-prepared for Roland Garros. Who knows what round he's going to go out in, but he probably won't win the final, even when he's playing his best, going back to like 2004, 2003, 2004 to 2010-ish, when he was really at his absolute best, winning 3 majors a year kind of guy. He only won the French Open once, so 7 years out of his prime. I don't think he's going to win his worst Grand Slam historically. So he could do a really big offer during the clay court season here, or just end up with minuscule ranking points while everybody else is just gaining thousands and thousands. And of course, Nadal in Madrid this week is an imminent danger, or an imminent threat to pass him on year-to-date rankings. I don't think Nadal would have to do very well in Madrid by his standards to do that. Looks like, what's that, 260, so make the semifinals. I think that would do it. What I wanted to look at is a couple guys. I don't generally bother with even odds or short odds for long-term bets. I've explained my opinion on that before. I just think that you have to make too big of a bet to make even odds interesting, and you're waiting 6-7 months for the betting line to resolve. And that's just not worth it. You're better off making small bets and just ignoring the favorites. So what I liked in this market was looking down here. There's Dominic Thiem. He's at 100 to 1. And so on the live year-to-date rankings, he's doing well. He's 5th. It could be a French Open dark horse there. It's possible that he wins the French Open. It's possible he wins Madrid and or Rome. He's good enough on clay. I don't know what his schedule is. There's some other clay court events after the clay court technical season is over. Like I know Sweden has some. Well, I don't know if I think he'd have a preference for those. He did win a grass court title. Hasn't proven a lot on the hard court surface in his young career yet, but if that's 100 to 1. 100 to 1's pretty long odds. I'm just going to open up a betway here. I think there might be a line on David Goffin as well. So 100 to 1. If Federer stays sidelined, Nadal could get injured. And then that kind of just leaves these guys. Like, who's to say that Nadal won't miss Wimbledon or something like this? Maybe miss the US Open. Last year, he had to miss a lot of tennis at the end of the season. All that could cost him. So, you could favor the youth in this sense from not so much at this point in the season, but who knows what the clay court season is going to take out of the Spaniard. It might be the younger players that gain. Of course, these guys are all plus in their 30s now. And these guys here, they're kind of, they got the potential to get the number 1 ranking. I'll say that for sure. So I'm not going to log in here, but here's this. I don't work for this site. I do not work for this site. I'm not promoting a betting line. I'm just doing whatever that said I'm doing. I'm just finding some betting value and arguing it for people that are following my channel. That's the only angle I have. Okay. Let's see. (2017) ending. So yeah, that site wasn't reading all of them. David Goffin is in there as well at 150 to 1. So I don't see them. I don't see his name there. He's underrated at 150 to 1. You can almost see how if you were watching Monte Carlo, that was kind of a suspicious match there for a little while when it was really tight at the start. And the line judge called that one ball that was a good maybe 4 or 5 inches out, and he called it in and then pointed to a different spot in the dirt and claimed that it hit. That it's kind of looked like a little bit of robbery going on there, and they needed Nadal in the final kind of crap for the ratings and for the ticket sales and for every point of view. But the point is there's some phony baloney there that Goffin's game could have been high enough to play with Nadal. And I forget what titles Goffin has this season. I know he's been in a bunch of finals. But he was in Rotterdam when he lost to Tsonga. I think he's picked up a title since then. But on year-to-date rankings, he's 4th. Right there with Stan Wawrinka. You could see how either Federer stays idle, Nadal does his thing on clay but picks up an injury like he's been doing almost every year. If he has to miss 3 months, that would probably take him out of the year-to-date number 1 rankings. Look at Djokovic. He's 23rd on year-to-date rankings, and he just changed all his coaches, and yet in this market, he's considered 4th favorite? I don't know about that. I really don't. Murray, okay, he's 11th on year-to-date rankings. We're into May. It's not like it's January where things start to just, you don't got long enough term trends to look at. So I'm just seeing some gargantuan long shots that are actually in the race. And if you do know your tennis, Nadal's not probably not going to keep up what he's doing right now all season. There'll be something wrong with his knee, elbow, back, something. And let's take a look at some of the other players real quick. What's Dimitrov's odds? Dimitrov 150 to 1. I've hated him ever since when he won Sofia. I was expecting more of him. I really was, but he hasn't done a lot. Raonic, I don't. You could probably argue he's better than 150 to 1, but I don't know that I would bother with him nonetheless, just because, when you're a coin toss to finish a tournament, let alone beat the competition, and he's too injury prone. I don't think he can take a whole season, but he could show up and win 3 huge tournaments. He could win Wimbledon and then get injured, take a month to recover, and then win the U.S. Open and get injured and take a month to recover, and then maybe win Shanghai and get injured and take a month to recover, and then win the ATP World Tour Finals. He's good enough to play like that. Usually the guys who finish number 1 are capable of back-to-back tournaments in back-to-back weeks. So like someone like Nadal, he can win Canada and then the next week win Cincinnati without any rest. Raonic would never do that, in my opinion. But if he's well rested for a tournament, then he's dangerous. Then he's quite dangerous. So they don't offer anybody else, and I'm fine with that. I don't really see anybody else that's in the number 1 race. I don't think this guy keeps it up. He's playing well. He just won a title. Tsonga, never quite been number 1, and now number 1 caliber, and now he's 32, and sometimes you watch him play and there's kind of some mindless hitting out there almost, and where you look for the game plan, you don't see it, and there's also sometimes contentness to go out in the quarterfinals, in my opinion. And I don't know, maybe he's just so used to going out in that round against a better player that it's defeated him. Knows who he is. I guess Pui is good enough to make the number 1, and this guy is too, but I think he's a little ways off, and there's no betting lines on him anyway. So yeah, I'm just seeing some value with Thiem at 100 to 1, Goffin at 150 to 1, and I can't discount Dimitrov at 150 to 1. He could turn things around and win Wimbledon. He has slept for a little while though. Okay, so that's my angle for today. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Follow me on Twitter. Sorry, that's at uncoolnegated. Thanks. Bye-bye.